Good morning. Hello. Thank you for tuning into another video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I just wanted to head out here and film another video. This particular video, I did want to highlight the 5 things I hate about the M3. Of course, disclaimer, I do not hate the car in any way. I just want to highlight or kind of nitpick things that I wish could have been better. Obviously, it's after the fact, you know, the car's already manufactured. They probably didn't know. Anyways, let's just walk around the car first for anyone new to the channel. So, walking around the car, the number one thing that I hate, actually, let's use the word dislike. So the number one thing I dislike about this car has to do with the interior. So let me get the door open. And it has to do with the trim. I absolutely despise the material that they used for pieces such as the door pull right here, the window switch, the steering wheel trim, as well as the infotainment. You can see on my car, the coating is pretty scratched and beat up, and probably would assume it was neglected, but that's not really the case with this car. If you just look at it wrong, the coating will just flake and scuff itself, obviously exaggerating a little bit, but that's kind of what it feels like. And the worst thing is, and the most unfortunate thing is, the scuffs and scratches really aren't the worst part about it. The absolute worst part is that the material gets tacky and sticky. So like on a warm day, like you're I don't know, grabbing the door to close, or you're using the window switches and the material is just sticky, and I just get like completely icked out. Kind of like what's a close comparison, like scratching a chalkboard type deal. I just feel like, I don't know. And to replace the trim, it's such a nightmare. For my particular car, I had looked into it. This isn't I don't believe so. I don't believe this piece is removable and can be replaced without getting a whole new door panel. So I'm just stuck with it. I've seen guides where people sand it down. I'm not sure if I want to do all of that. All right, let's see. Now, moving on to number 2. So that's why I'm making my way back here. The rear end of my specific car. I really, really dislike that the Pre-LCI on the sedan features a completely different trunk. This trunk is just, why? Why would you redesign the trunk? And it's only applicable to the sedan. The coupe, they did not change the trunk at all. All they had done was upgrade the taillights, the design of it, and they were just plug and play. So in my particular case, I'm not going to be able to upgrade to the LCI taillights without swapping the entire trunk lid. I also kind of got the quote-unquote shorter end of the stick, since this particular paint code was only made for the LCI models. So I'll have to purchase an entire LCI trunk and have to repaint it for it to match. So rather unfortunate, but it is kind of what it is. Walking around the car, moving on to number 3, that has to do with something under the hood. Can you guess what it is? If you guessed either the rod bearings or engine oil, you are absolutely right. The number 3 thing that I dislike is the rod bearings and the engine oil weight. The rod bearings at this point are just non-negotiable. Unfortunately, the tolerances for the OEM rod bearings just weren't accounted for in its entirety. So resulting in increased wear, inevitably leading to rod bearing failure. So that just sucks. Kind of is what it is at this point, which is rather unfortunate. And regarding the engine oil, boom, the car takes very specific weight engine oil, right? 10W60 weight engine oil. So uncommon, and it's rather expensive in my opinion. If you've never had experiences with this particular engine oil, the consistency is almost like pouring maple syrup. I've read countless forum threads regarding engine oil weight, its correlations with the rod bearings, but there really hasn't been any definitive right or wrong. I've seen people switch to 10W50 and so forth. But for me, I think I'm just going to stick with what both the manufacturer as well as the local shops recommend, which is 10W60. Not sponsored by Castrol, but I am open to it. Castrol, hit me up. Number 4, I'll just kind of make my way back. See if you guys can guess what it is. So number 4 is actually the stock exhaust. I really dislike how there was so much research and development. Usually you would not like that, right? But they put so much research and development into the engine itself just for the car to be muted and muffled by the factory exhaust. Like, were the secondary catalytic converters really that necessary? Couldn't the car have just came with primaries and that still would have been fine? Additionally, did the mufflers really need to have that intricate of a design? Just excessive perforations in my opinion. It has dual Helmholtz chambers in place. Like overall, I feel like if they had just dialed back even just one of these things, the stock exhaust would bring so much more character to the car in its original factory state. Fortunately though, this can be easily corrected with aftermarket systems, modifications, such as my example of the OEM muffler mod. But overall, I would have just liked and preferred if there were just a bit more sound stock. So yeah, let's see. Last but not least, number 5, fuel economy. Obviously, this car is not intended to be the most fuel efficient and was not expected to be. I only mention this because for some reason, I was under the impression that I may get slightly better MPG versus the automatic DCT. Unfortunately, this was not the case. And just kind of as another disclaimer, I'm not a hooligan, recklessly driving around everywhere. I do a few pulls here and there and cruise. But even so, I can barely get 150 miles before the low fuel light triggers. Additionally, in the rough 500 miles I've driven the car, I've had to fuel up almost 4 times already, which is rather interesting to say the least. Averaging maybe like 12 miles per gallon. But yeah, kind of wrapping things up, those are the top 5 things I quote unquote hate / dislike about the car. Please let me know if you if you enjoyed this video or if this was kind of insightful. Is it relatable? Are my dislikes considered normal? I don't know. My own opinion. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I hope you have an amazing day.